everybody, and welcome back to the May Contain Action podcast. My name is Trevor. I used to play baseball, but now I do this. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, the main host, Paul, a.k.a. Action Jackson. Hello, Paul. Welcome into the show.
Hello. Good to be
so
here.
If you're going to notice something about Paul's voice. It is definitely coming through some sort of Apple headphone product, if I were to guess. Am I correct here, Paul? Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
The AirPods Pro 2, actually.
Ooh,
not
not
sponsored. So
definitely not sponsored. Imagine if you were sponsored by Apple, we'd be so peanut butter and jelly of you.
True.
Big time.
True.
Big time. So he's going to be doing that. So yeah, we'll do it. We'll fix it in post as best we can. And PM is also here. PM.
Hey,
Hello,
PM's here.
What's going on? I almost switched my mic over to my headphones to make it sound intentionally shitty too. To be like,
Yay.
Trevor, I think you're the one left out of this. But no,
Wow.
to keep the actual mic going.
Well, I'm glad you didn't do that because
would have appreciated the solidarity, but here we are.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we sorry we missed you last week. Conflict of scheduling and things happen and life happens and it doesn't really matter. But we will get to that great episode because Darkness is chomping at the bit to talk about some. I guess it's Back to the Future. I think we've already talked
we've
about
already
it
disclosed
anyway.
that.
So like it's out there.
Yeah.
That will come in the next couple of weeks. But that's not today. No,
sir.
No, it isn't. Today. Actually, before I tell the movie, I'm getting way ahead of myself here. I'm so excited. This has been 2 weeks. It's a great movie. But first, let me tell you about our coffee page. We now are on coffee. That is KO-FI coffee. You can support the show in a bunch of different other ways. If you would like, you also get access to our brand new bonus show, Obsessed. Preferably episodes where I do not have my mic cut out 23 minutes into the show when it's a 40-minute show. Don't know how that happened. It's a technical marvel. It is the most Trevor thing in the whole wide world. So promise that'll never happen again. But if you want to listen to that show early, you can get it 4 days early by supporting on the coffee. We got all kinds of other things going up. We got a store that is my baby a little bit, and I'm building out some sound packs for you to use in your Discord channels or on your own streams of Paul and I saying funny stuff. That's up there. There is special roles in the Discord. We're going to be doing watch parties this year. We would love for you guys to choose the movie sometimes. All of those things are going to be available with subscription on the coffee. So we appreciate your support, anything you can do. But as always, just listening makes us feel good. And you're never obligated to do anything more than that. But we do appreciate it. Just know that. Awesome. Now let's get into the movie because we're going to hop right into it because we always check in let's check in with our human being sides of ourselves. Paul, how you doing? PM, how you guys doing? How was your week?
It's so good. So good. I got nothing really to report necessarily, just cruising along. He's got a toddler. And we're just living our lives, just covered in poop and crayons. You know what I mean?
Poop and crayons, and currently in a snowstorm with no internet. So, yeah, things are going great for Paul.
Yeah.
A round of applause for his positive attitude because you could very easily be like, everything sucks.
Yeah.
And you're not.
I'm close to it. Yeah, I'm close to it.
And you're not. PM, anything for you? Anything crazy happening?
No.
Wow.
This week's been pretty
tame.
Pretty tame. With just a lot of work stuff. Today's actually going to be crazy. There's a lot of college football things happening today that I'm prepared for, related to Oregon State, and I have a space tonight. And apparently now Twitter Spaces has. This is getting too obsessed, so we should stop. But now Twitter Spaces has video. So you can do video while doing a space, and so I think I'm going to fire that up tonight with a bunch of people. Outside of that, no, I just working out and working and trying to live life and enjoying my Tesla, and very happy about that.
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm doing all the same things except for working out. That has not started happening yet. Have I softened up? Sure, but do I weigh the same? Almost. So I'm gonna stay there. Stay there
Almost.
as long as humanly possible. Also, just I think what you should do is get a VTuber avatar of a beaver, and you should do it like that. That's what I think. You should have a
That's
beaver
actually be hilarious
go live, and
Yeah.
if you got that.
are a beaver. That would be
I think Steam has those
That
for
would-
free. You
I
could
would
just
because
get it
you
from
know
Steam.
like with the Face ID or like the FaceTime, you can do
Yeah,
the filters with animals. Like, yeah, it would be great if they can incorporate that, but Apple's
Oh
not
my
going to give
gosh.
up that tech to Elon. So
no shot.
No. That's what I'm saying. Do it
God.
on Steam. You use it as a camera source. Boom, and it's free.
There's
There you
a
go. You're
whole thing
welcome.
on Steam.
that's
like
a lot.
wallpaper
I mean,
generator.
It's a lot.
I-
Okay.
I would have to plug my phone in, right?
Yeah, probably.
No, you wouldn't. Wait.
I have no idea.
Okay. No. Yeah, you would. Okay. Never mind. All right. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then I would
Yeah,
have
you're
to
right.
leave it stationary, which would be annoying because I walk around my house and like go outside and like do a bunch of things on Spaces.
You're like one of those.
Yeah, it's like
Ah.
the when you're on the phone with someone like for like a long time and you end up just like
Dude.
walking to parts of your house you haven't been to in like ages.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're just
I'm
like,
like in the
oh,
basement. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah. Yeah, but you're just in a conversation. So like that's what I do with
Yeah.
the Spaces. So I need to be able to move.
That's fair.
You just notice where like you walk into rooms where I've been avoiding this room because it is just filthy for a really long time. That's when I mentally do my checklist for what I need to clean. I don't know, ADD
Yes.
and stuff.
Oh, real quick, actually,
Oh.
because you mentioned that, Trevor, I did
Yeah.
get field notes because I just want to write stuff down. So
Field
I
notes?
feel like I thought of you. Yeah, it's like a brand. It's called Field Notes. They have
Oh.
like dot matrix paper and like little notebooks. They're like designed for just writing down notes and all that. So it's like sits
Great.
right next to my desk. I write down little notes when I think of stuff.
Great. It's so nice. I have one in
It's-
my bedside table now that is incoherent if I read it again, but like it allows me to go to sleep, which I love. I dump just whatever is
all.
bouncing around, ping ponging around in my head. It's been huge.
Love that.
But yeah, I got just notes everywhere. It's almost like so at some point you have to just commit to the fact that you're probably never going to read most of them, and
Yeah,
once you
yeah.
accept that, then it's really effective. But it's funny when I think
Agreed.
that I need to organize these later, it just does the opposite effect. It's like, oh cool, I'm creating more things for myself to do. So if you guys get field notes out there, listeners, make sure that you accept that these things maybe never will be revisited, and that's okay.
Yeah,
highly recommend
it's a good
taking that
yes.
mindset into it. Awesome. Well, for me, outside of I've been watching movies actually quite a bit. We watched Dune in preparation to watch Dune 2, which Kate and I are going to see tonight, which is why we are recording in the morning today. And
Yes.
I'm hearing so many good things. I have a lot of, obviously we've been doing this pod too, and I have a lot of now kind of like digital creator, critics,
Yeah.
adjacent people
Mhm.
that I tend to agree with a lot. Like, it's not even about objective opinion. It's just about like, are these people into the same types of movies that I'm into? Because when they like something, I tend to like it as well. And that is everyone I've had is huge Lord of the Rings fans and like loves there hasn't been a trilogy made like that since. So, and
Yeah,
there's
very
a lot
true.
of like, this could be one of those things that the second one continues the story in a really great way. And it's just as good as the first one or better, which, Fellowship of the Ring was very similar. It sets up the whole story, and then but the meat is in the second and third one. Seems like
Yes.
that might be the case for this movie as well. So I'm very excited, and we're seeing it on opening night. Haven't done that in years.
Ooh, that'll
So-
be fun. IMAX,
It will-
all that.
No, not even. It's like more of a smaller, more intimate theater. It's like
Intimate.
it's like a mom and pop theater that fits like maybe there's like 58 seats or something.
Oh,
So-
that's kind of cool.
but
Wow.
it's, the audio is supposed to be crazy, and like it's one of those places where there's no bad seats, like front seat,
Oh yeah.
front row is fine. And I'm saying that because yes, we do have front row seats. So,
Wow.
yeah, I'm
That's
excited.
next,
It'll be
okay.
good.
Wait, I was
Yeah.
gonna say I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, the screen's not massive, so like it's more of like being in a living room. You know what I mean? And being
Oh,
closer to the living
okay.
room's not so bad. So
Yeah.
IMAX though, you're looking straight up. So I'm
But
glad.
but is that still better? Like
No, it's better. It's not good. Like,
yeah,
but it's
Yeah.
better. Like,
better.
like the bigger the
Like
screen and the
better.
farther up you are, the harder it is to see the whole screen and get
Sure.
the feeling. So yeah, I'm hopeful, but I've seen a lot of pictures. I've actually been to this place. It's been a long time, so I'm excited for that. Kate and I are
Yeah.
going. We're going with a couple friends that we've actually never gone to the movies who are huge movie buffs too with. So like it should be a really good time. So really
Adorable.
excited about that. Got to do that. But other than that, like it's editing video for 9 hours every day because I love it.
Good.
Until I don't love it someday. But I'm gonna keep riding this horse as long as I can. All right. Cool updates. Nobody cares. Let's get in the movie. I'm so very excited to get in this movie. But of course my Alexa just turned on. So 1 second. Alexa, stop. Jesus. Sports Talk Radio just turned on in the middle of the pod. I don't know. I got to turn that automation off. You know what? I'm a pundit now. I need to be fed news.
Yeah, you're a
or
talking
else
head.
I don't know anything. Yeah, I'm a talking head. You can only do so much with RSS feeds.
You're a paid puppet for the media. That's
I'm a
what you
paid
are
puppet
now.
for the media. Yep, I am.
Yep.
And I am enjoying people yelling at me for hot takes. It is actually a blast. I'm enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. So I'm gonna keep doing that. But not
play for the Mets all over again.
I get it, but I get it now.
Man,
not being a player is so much better than being a player in this situation. That is
sure.
for sure. That is for sure. Well, we have a doozy. We got a doozy of a movie today. A movie that many people know of, many people have seen, and very few people probably remember. Remember exactly what happened because I'll be honest, halfway through I was like, "Oh, that's what he's doing."
Yeah,
and I couldn't remember, even though there's been 10 of these movies. 10. The Fast and the Furious franchise. We watched The Fast and the Furious, and
yes. Not to be confused with Fast and Furious.
Yes. Can I interject real quick?
Yes.
I went to my Apple TV and I typed did say, hey, Fast and Furious. So like it pulled up the whole franchise and I was like, oh, cool. Like I can rent this one right away. So I clicked Fast and Furious, rented it for $3. And I sit down and they open up with the truck scene because we'll get into this, but I don't know if you've noticed, pretty much every single one of them opens up with like a heist scene.
Every single one.
So like I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like they start with the heist. This makes sense. And then I see Ludacris and I'm like, wait,
he's not in this one.
He's not in this one. And then I see the Asian guy and I'm like, wait, no, this isn't right. And then so I go back and I'm like, wait, why did Apple tell me this one? This doesn't make any sense. And then I realized it's The Fast and The Furious. So that's why I texted you, Paul. And I was like, make sure it's The Fast and The Furious because you don't want to spend more money on this.
So
I would have 100% fallen for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny you brought that up because this was a hilarious thing that was pointed out to me. I think I saw this in a separate video somewhere. So I'm sorry if this feels like I'm stealing it, but I cannot remember where I saw this. So actually, every single one of these movies, they name them all where there's no continuity at all on purpose. So let me just do this for you. There's no repeating in any of them. So there's The Fast and The Furious is the first one, and then there's Too Fast, Too Furious, where the numbers are in there. Is the second one. The third one is The Fast and the Furious : Tokyo Drift. Again, different again. So we have The Fast and the Furious again at the beginning. So we're like, maybe. The fourth one is Fast and Furious with an ampersand instead of an and.
Yeah.
And then fifth one is Fast 5, where 5 is written out. And then the sixth one is Fast and Furious with the ampersand again, but it's a 6 instead of the word 6. And then the seventh one is Furious 7 with the number. And then the eighth one is The Fate of the Furious. No numbers.
The Fate.
And then the ninth one is like the eighth one is like a spin-off. So we have Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. That's The Rock and
that's right.
Statham.
Oh my god.
And then the ninth one is F9 with the 9 : The Fast Saga.
That's right, because isn't it like a 3-part ending?
Yes, and then and then the 10th one is Fast X which is X is 10, the Roman numeral. So there's no there's no it's like they did it like it was a tip of the cap, like we know, and they just kept doing it. They kept different ways to write it.
Could you imagine if like Harry Potter did this? It was like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Then it was like Potter and Harry, the wizard, and it's just like it just kind of like went down that route. And you're like,
the
wait,
Potter
what the
saga.
fuck?
Yeah,
the Potter saga, and then randomly one is like Harry Potter, but it's about Hermione and Ron.
Yeah. The love of Hermione and Ron.
Hermione and Ron's saga. Yeah. Dude. So I don't know why they did this.
What a series.
But I after watching the movie, I get it. It just was like a nod. This movie came out in June 22nd, 2001. 2001, huge year for movies. 2000 and 2001 were massive. It's hilarious that this came out then because this is like not even a top 10 series or not even a top 10 probably franchise that was released in this era
in 2001.
In this time frame. So like the fact that it's been so wildly successful is crazy. It's definitely about craze about building cars and things, which I had friends that were so into this stuff when we were a kid. I never got into it. I tried to fake it, never really could. But the budget was 38 million, which somehow is just over a third of Emperor's New Groove, which is I just cannot. I can't figure it out. I can't. But it made over $200 million worldwide. So now that that's been cleared up, it makes sense why they made 9 of them, because it made 6 times a return on its money. Made by Universal, distributed by Universal. Awards and nominations. This is interesting. Here's a throwback for you kids. It did win some awards. The MTV Movie Awards. It won for Best On-Screen Team, Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, but was nominated for Best Movie. Didn't win somehow. We'll never know why. I gotta look up. Who won Best Movie that year, because how did this lose? And then it got a Teen Choice Award. It got nominated for the Choice Movie of Action, so the Best Action Movie, and the Choice Movie Actor, Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. Both, or basically, they're just one person. Evidently.
Yes.
They just always linked them together, which Paul Walker probably is very grateful for. Cast and crew, we got Paul Walker, rest in peace, Vin Diesel, Dominic Toretto, Brian O'Connor, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty Ortiz, Jordana Brewster, Mia, Rick Yoon as Johnny Tran. I don't know why he is listed here. I feel like there's characters that are in it more. Shout out to Jesse. But yeah, and all four of those people, with the obviously the exclusion of Paul Walker, all pretty much everyone's in every movie. So, and they would continue to be in every movie for the whole time, because man,
wouldn't you?
Yeah,
kidding me? Guaranteed paycheck like that?
Lemon.
Oh my goodness. Dude, I mean, imagine your whole career being off of the Fast and the Furious series, just living off it for decades. I mean, my gosh.
I would lean into, especially when I'm basically all of those actors, right? And the composer of all the music. This is very interesting. BT, which is he is a DJ he's an older gentleman now, but he did 70 custom compositions for this movie. So every single song you heard in the movie, every single one, every single chase scene, every single cut scene, every single little thing going in, pretty much all of it. Actually, there was a couple songs that there's one Ja Rule song at the end and whatever, but most of it BT made exclusively for this movie, and it's like all custom sounds.
It's all garbage.
It's all very early aughts, late 90s, like Blade, garage rave music, but it fits for the movie. But yeah, now not end well. Nothing aged well in this movie. Not a single thing aged well in this movie. But there is one interesting anecdote that I need to say before we move on.
I would say Mia did.
Jordana, yes, she is.
Oh,
she's
doing
great, except for the name Jordana. Ain't no one name that no more. That's for sure. The only reason I say that is my older brother went to high school with a girl named Jordana, and he's like, I've never heard of another Jordana besides those two in my entire life. So, that's a very 2000s name as well. But this is crazy right here. This is so crazy. This is my favorite anecdote I think ever. Jesse's Jetta. So the Jetta that Jesse drives, in the special, what is it, Race Wars? What they called it? What the hell? Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Race Wars. Yeah,
The
It's
car
called
he's
the Race
driving.
Wars.
yeah, the
after
most
these
on the
movies were
nose
made-
name you could possibly have. Go on.
Yeah, you have 3 different. Yeah. We'll get into it.
We'll get into it. Yeah. After these movies were made, that car was later owned by Frankie Muniz in real life.
Of course it was.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Of course it
So
was.
if you needed a 2001 hookup, that is Fast and the Furious and Frankie Muniz. Holy crap!
Amazing. Okay.
So just incredible movie. This is the first one set us off, so we're trying to take you back down this nostalgia, rabbit hole, so you can be like, wow, how did this happen to us? And how did we get here? We're about to find out. So we start with guessing the ratings, and this one's going to be a little tough, I think, because the range is pretty hefty. Who wants to lead us off today?
I feel like I shouldn't go. Well, I mean, I can go with IMDb and Letterboxd, but I peeped the Rotten Tomatoes because I watched on a Plex server and they aggregate that information automatically. So I did see that.
You could have lied, but hey, whatever.
Could have lied.
Yeah, PM, you go.
I'm gonna. So Rotten Tomatoes is out of 100%, right? That's
Yep.
100%. IMDb is 10, and Letterboxd is 5, right?
Yay!
Mhm.
Yes.
So
got it.
I'm gonna go Rotten Tomatoes. I'm gonna go 30%.
Okay.
I think this was not
30%.
favored at the time, and I think critics
Okay.
will probably hate it, and I think fans love it, but critics hate it. IMDb. Oh, I'm gonna stay around 4 out of 10, and then Letterboxd, I'm gonna go 4 out of 5. I think people love this.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's one of those that people, because when did Letterboxd come out?
Not too long ago. Like
Yeah, so I think people
2013,
rewatch it now
19.
and they love it out of like nostalgia.
Yeah.
But like if this movie
probably
came
right.
out, with Letterboxd when it came out, then I think people would be like, this sucks. But I'm gonna go with
Agreed.
that.
Agreed.
Okay.
Paul, so you knew the Rotten Tomatoes, but what about the
I know the Rotten
IMDb and the
Tomatoes.
Letterboxd?
IMDb, I'm going to say is 7 out of 10. Feels pretty safe. Letterboxd, I'm going to say is 3.5 out of 5. 3.5. Those are my two.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I those are really, really good. Paul, you got a little closer, but PM, I did like your strategy. Like you're starting to catch on now how these where are these ratings coming from is in like informing this quite a bit. So Rotten Tomatoes was 54 from critics, which is actually much better than what I thought, and then 74 from the audience, which is actually worse than I thought. So average of 64 there. Not too bad. Which is, I think that would be would it be certified fresh? It'd be very close. I think 60 plus is certified fresh, so technically would say it's solid.
Really?
IMDb
Wow,
was 6.8, which is only 0.1 behind Barbie. So
Dang.
I don't know how IMDb works at this point. I
I have
genuinely
no
do not know.
idea.
And Letterboxd is 3.3, which was better than I thought it would be.
I was close. Okay.
So there's people who just like live and die, and there's people like, why do you do this to us? Which kind of leads me to a new thing I wanted to add in here. I've been going on Letterboxd a lot and reading people's reviews, and it has been one of the most fun things I've done ever. We did a whole stream the other day for like 2 hours where we went and read these hilarious things from movies. But how I'd like to do it, we have three.
I just read one. I'm sorry.
We have 3 of loved it, or people who like give it a pretty good in terms of how the movie's rated overall, pretty good rating with their stars, and then we give it the low. We go to the low star ones, and as you can imagine, a lot of the low star ones are very sarcastic. So let's go into the loved it first, because I think hated it is always better. Loved it, 3 stars. Shakespeare would have loved this. From Den of Geeks. Then we got Waltart Witt. I'm terrified of reading these people's names, so I'm probably not going to do that every time. It just says family, because famously this movie doesn't do the family thing. That came later,
Dude.
So
I will interject really quick. He mentions it once. The
He
cop
mentions it once.
says
yes.
it to Paul Walker one time. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all. I had that as a favorite
Yeah.
quote. It's all about.
Yeah, yeah.
family.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is the introduction to family.
And then they
Someone
just
saw
ran
that and
with
were
it.
like, make that the theme of all the movies. And like, that's it.
And then we got another one 5 stars. Movie buff Grant. Really good film. Nice, very measured. Good job. I trust you. But then we get into the other ones that are technically Evans hated it. I don't know if they hated it, but I don't really know what the point of this first one was.
This first one.
But they didn't give any stars. They said Ja Rule enters a street race because if he wins, he'll get to have a threesome. And then when somebody passes him, he screams, "No!" And that's all it says. And that comment has 2,759 likes. So people really identified. And then James says, I really loved it when Brian and Dom kissed. And at first I was like, what? And then I watched it. I was like, oh my God, there's so many opportunities. And the energy is there. The energy is definitely there. And I'm like, there's a lot of like getting really close in each other's faces. And the way Paul Walker is, he just like doesn't react to people, which is, I don't know. They say stuff and he just like looks at them. And I'm like,
It's like
are you
a
gonna say
dumb
something?
smile on his face. Like
Yeah.
every time.
Like it's like he's just ignoring what everyone says. And then the bottom one's 1/2 star, really good special effects. Which is clearly not true. But also got 1 like, so people don't really agree with that either. God, so if you're ever just feeling down, go look up some historically terrible movie on Letterboxd. It's a blast. It is so much fun. So that takes us to the beginning of this movie really quick.
Yes.
The Vivian Ward rating. The intro. What do you guys think? Because I got thoughts.
I'd say it's like a 2.
2.
That would be I gave it a 2 as well.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. Which is part of the reason why I wanted to do Too Fast, Too Furious. Just as a quick side note, because I think the intro to that is probably the best intro of all time. But this one with the truck scene opening. I mean, I guess it kind of plays into like the ending and how it finishes, but it doesn't like prepare you for like street racing. You just think it's some guys stealing stuff.
Exactly. Like, how does this relate to what I'm watching? Yeah, I give it a 3. I feel the same. I was like, I don't what has this told me other than like people steal stuff, and then DVD players were real big back in the day. That's about it. That's about it. Yeah, real bad intro.
I got a 2. I got a bad one. The guy who says the thing at the beginning is like, "Hey, remember my cut?" Like, is this guy the bad guy?
We never see him again. We don't.
So, we never see him again.
Also, are they doing illegal stuff, or is he working with Dom? I think he was talking to Dom, right?
Yeah,
must have been.
I think he was.
I would imagine. Yeah, he's talking to Dom. Yeah.
But what they were stealing was, and I shit you not, what they were stealing was mini Panasonic TVs with built-in VCRs, which
all the rage back then.
I'm like, VCRs are not even like new technology then. Like, that's old then. Like, these are the TVs they wheel into like in classrooms. They're like rear projection TVs.
How is he selling them? Who is he selling them to?
Yeah,
They never went into like how he went about selling them. Like, he just had them stored somewhere. Then all of a sudden, he made millions. Like,
we're like, they never explained that.
Blowing up about this time.
Even Johnny Tran had.
We have no idea
a
how they
fence.
made money. They just know that.
You know.
Also, hold on, we're gonna go there. I'm trying so hard not to get ahead of myself, but yeah, that was definitely a 2. Also, this is probably not the intro sequence, but like when Paul is out there, he's like, you know what, we need to establish we are in LA. So he's like in the Dodger Field parking lot. Anyone who's been there, like, they have that place locked down when there's not there's like 9 gates you have to go through. So I'm like, how'd he get here? And why is it all coned off? And also,
That's such a random
it's
MLB
also
fact.
like on a hill.
Yeah.
It's also not flat at all. Like, I'm like, this is a horrible place to see how fast your car can go. Like, you're in LA, go down on the river like they do in you know, all the other movies that are in LA.
Along the coast.
Like along the anywhere. There's so many flat places. You're supposed to be a street racer, but I guess I was just be like, by the way, we're in LA. So that kind of, I was like, I should tell people about this because I know I've been there a lot. Anyway, there you
Nice
go. Now you
insight.
know that, and you'll do that. You'll do nothing with that probably for the rest of your life. So you're welcome. Ents Attack, though. We got some scenes. Favorite scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Paul.
Yes. I'll start up. I think my favorite scene of the entire movie is actually towards the end. And it's really lame, but for some reason as a kid, I was like, that's badass. And it's after, spoiler, they shoot Jesse. And Dom is like, you know, freaking out or whatever. And it's a very short scene. It's when he walks back to his car because they time it like every step is on beat with the music they play. And he walks to the car, which I thought was also pretty badass. And I was like, that's kind of sick. I actually thought that was a cool scene. I liked how they edited that. It was pretty neat. But yeah, that's probably my favorite scene of the entire movie. Is that one bit. Yeah. That I actually like. I guess I should say that's my best non-sarcastic liked scene. Like I actually enjoyed the scene, not like that's so stupid I like it. That makes sense?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I do get what you're talking about, like the slow walk back. You kind of felt like his power in the moment. Yeah, like you knew he was gonna fuck some shit up. Like
exactly. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It built the
I like
tension.
that.
You felt it fired you up a little bit, which is kind of the point of this movie. At least all
Yeah.
things after it, for sure. They try to fire you up. Yeah.
I got two.
Ooh.
Okay.
One of my favorites is when Brian is first introduced into the house with Dom because he's basically saved Dom from going to prison, right?
Mm-hmm.
And comes back to the house and Dom's like fighting with everyone saying like, oh, where were you? Like you weren't helping me. And you know, the one complete asshole guy like notices Brian there and he's like, get this guy out of here.
Yeah, screw you, Vince.
And yeah, Vince, that's his name. And Dom's like, is that your beer? And then like takes his like brand new Corona and like hands it to Brian. And then Brian like Vince like kind of does the and then Brian like looks at him and then like it pans down and he like takes his shirt out and wipes the Corona, then drinks it and smiles.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. And then the other one when they're in the kitchen and Vince pops up again with the microwave and he's like slamming it, not knowing how to work. And then Mia goes up to Vince and he's like, hey, what was that restaurant you wanted to take me to that one time? And like you can see him be like, oh yeah, like the one like this, it's called Cha Cha Cha. And she goes, oh yeah. And then she turns and looks at Brian and goes, you can take me there tomorrow at 10 p.m. Like it was just like, oh my God, this guy is just getting thrown under the bus every fucking second.
Yeah, and they hate him very clearly. Everyone hates Vince.
Like
everyone
Vince
hates
sucks.
Vince.
There was such good scenes. And I mean, like all of the racing scenes are incredible. Like I think the opening like racing scenes with the with like Ja Rule and I'm blanking on who else was in it, but Brian's first racing scene, I think that's like an incredible scene, even though he loses. The my one of my favorite moments of all time in these movies is somehow the police have discovered a way to disable cars with like rods. And I just love that like that appears throughout the movie and like all the police stuff is just incredible because you can feel like the late 90s in those police chases, right? It's like everyone's smiling and then like someone with the director is like yells in a microphone, okay, go, and then everyone like happily disperses with like a bunch of like rave music going on. And like I don't know if you slow it down, but if you look at the extras, people are like smiling while they run because they think it's hilarious. Like it's just great.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's a lot of great scenes, and I think every single racing scene is great, but the two where they just shit on Vince, I think is incredible.
They
Well,
do. They should have been so much.
that is a great one. Obviously, there's the scene where he goes and orders the tuna sandwich on white.
Yeah.
Is like iconic for a lot of people. That was mentioned in the reviews 1,000 times. So like once I saw it, I was like, okay, I get it. It's how the movie kind of opens too when he meets everybody. But then I was like, I can't remember why he's trying to get in with the crew. So it took a bit. Oh yeah, I forgot he's a cop. I completely forgot he's a cop.
Yeah.
Forgot.
Yep.
I did not. I was like, oh, that's why. But another. So minor ironic. Just little. Two really quick moments to point out some funny stuff I noticed. One, when he's like, hey, he's trying to get in the race and he's talking to his boss. His boss is freaking out because Dom is mad at him, which I don't understand what the power is. The power dynamic is there. I guess he brings in a lot of things, but he acting like he was going to kill him. So I don't know if he had loaned him money. I don't know. But he's like, I need NOS. He's like, your amateur drivers don't use NOS. You got a lead foot. And he's like, I need 2. And then it cuts. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so you're gonna give it to him? Gonna give him 2 of the thing you just said you don't want to give him 1 of. And it just happened. And then he did it. He's like, I don't know how to use this. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. It's my favorite part of that is Nas, the logo is framed behind his head when he says it. Like as if he just like was, I need Nas. Like it just like a light bulb. It was literally plastered all over every wall in that place.
Yeah. Product placement. 100%. Oh, this was 1,000%. This movie was for that too. It was a big commercial. Performance car parts, which whatever, do it. There's been worse commercials. So
true.
So there was that. I noticed that and then this was my favorite. I watched this 3 times, and I don't know if many people notice it, but it's great. Dom's running from the cops. Okay. Paul Walker Brian shows up out of nowhere in the car that eventually has its piston rings fried, but is fine. Because the scene before, they're like, this car barely will run now. And then he just picks them up in that car, and then they run from the cops in that car. So,
yes,
come on. And so that happens. But when they run, they come out of the alley and turn left, okay? There's 1 car on the road. 1 car. This car is stopping because it's at a red light. So the light is red. You can see the light. So I'm like, why is this car even having to slam its brake? It should be already stopping. The light is red.
Yeah.
So they're stopping. And then they come out, and then the cop car comes out, and that 1 car hits the cop car, still running a red light. So I'm like, you stopped, and then you continued, even though the red light is still red, and the cop car gets hit by the only car. So I'm like, that was really, really, really convenient.
Yes.
And then I was wishing he'd be like, how'd that happen? And he'd be like, oh, that was Letty, or like, you know what I mean? He had someone waiting for to be a distraction. They should have had that be a cool twist. I just think they were like, we only have 1 car to use here, and we can't really wait for the light to turn. So we're not in control of the lights, so we need to time it. And that was just their best cut. And they're like, I guess we're going with it. I think that's what happened.
And like, don't fix it in post, don't bother doing that.
I mean, I don't really know what to do. I zoom in on the car maybe, but again, you guys saw the quality of the, back then. So I don't know if you could do that unless you're doing it on purpose. So yeah, something I noticed was very obvious and was really funny to watch once I noticed it. So those were my favorites because 2001, baby.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Can I
quick note? Oh, go ahead, PM.
Oh no, I just wanted to throw in a kind of a corny one, but one I feel like that set up the franchise was the ending scenes where Brian pretty much just admits he's a cop to everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of understands the situation and everyone knows he's a cop now, but they realize that like shit is more important than that. Like, I think that moment set up the entire franchise because like it really wouldn't make sense for those people to get along with a cop like that for 9 movies, but they somehow did. Right. And so like, I think in the moment where Vince is like needing life support for his arm with 2 cuts on it, whatever.
Hey, he got shotgunned in the lower left flank. Okay.
In the lower left flank. I know it's flank too. I'm like, what is he, a boar?
Yeah. So you could tell in that moment, like his like, because I guess the Brian character throughout the entire movie put on this like dumb persona of like, yeah, bro, like
Surfer
like I'm
bro.
a driver, and
Yeah.
then like in the
Yeah.
moment at the end, like it snapped, and then it turned into like the Brian that we see for like the rest of the movies, where it's like this,
Mhm.
like, no, like this is who I am, like yada yada yada. I need this, this, and this done. More of like a boss Brian, and I think the reason why Dom didn't just cold cut him on sight was because the character probably saw it and went like, oh, yes, he goes against everything I'm, like that I hate, or sorry, that I support, but he's going to help me in this moment, and he's going to stand up for us, and he understands what this
Yeah.
means. And like I think that was like the big pivotal moment
Yeah.
where now you look back on the movies and you're like, yeah, okay, that's why they have the relationship. Was like that was the ultimate sign of respect for Dom throughout the entire franchise.
That's a great point. It was
Hmm.
very cohesive. It literally it was the glue that kept it together, and it's really
Yeah.
it's good, well done. I don't know if they knew that that's what was going to happen then,
I don't think
but
they
it is
did.
kind of a
Not.
twist that wasn't. I wasn't expecting him just to be like, I'm a cop, I'm a cop, I'm a cop, I'm a cop. Like I didn't, and it was
Yeah, he just
different.
gave it up real quick. Yeah.
And it was different, and like the way they
was.
reacted to it is kind of like a real human react, like where they're like, but you still have, you're being very honest with me, and I feel like you still have, even though you've been not giving me all the facts, you haven't been lying to me directly. Like you've never said
Yeah.
anything that's a lie, and that must mean like you have integrity, even though this was your job. So like I don't know, it was just like a real human, how like it was complicated in a human way. So I'm like, this is actually good writing, as opposed like with all the kitschy, weird, goofy stuff in this movie. That their relationship was believable the way that played out in my
Yeah. Agreed.
Paul, is that what you're gonna say?
No, I want to move on, but I just feel like I gotta say the weirdest part, the most unbelievable part of the entire movie was that Mia wanted Brian to pick her up at 10 p.m. at night for dinner. I was like,
Yes.
in what
Yes.
universe does anyone get
10
picked
p.m.
up
dinner.
at 10? You get there by 10:30. You start eating by like 10:45 if you're lucky.
And it was popping.
It was packed. I'm like,
It
what
was
in the
slammed.
world? Who
Where are
are
we
these
staying?
people? Yeah. I was like, this movie's fake, dude. This is the fakest thing I've ever seen.
I think they were 100% playing into the culture of the people who fell asleep at like 4 a.m. and woke up at 1.
Yeah, street
Like,
racers.
that's 100% that they're playing
I think you're
into.
right. Yeah.
Street racers.
10
Yeah.
o'clock.
Early
Damn.
20s street racers, house
Jeez.
parties every single night, no matter what day of week it is.
Yeah.
And then we find out that he's like sleeping in the store like 35 minutes later.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep. That's where
Yeah.
he sleeps.
Oh, and then who was that? Wrong number when he says yeah. Say anything else. Say anything else. Anything else.
Wrong number. Yeah. Anything. Literally anything. Telemarketer.
Oh, that's just my
would've been
boss
more
at the
convincing.
store we're sleeping in. Yeah. What? She's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
no.
I'll go home with you to the store, to your job. Well, then again, I don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
into.
back
Maybe
then.
She really likes car parts. That's probably what it is. Back then.
Yeah. I think honestly she's treated
Favorite
like crap
characters. I
the
want to
entire
touch on them
thing.
really quick too, because there's a lot.
Oh, sure.
She's what?
I said she's treated awful like the entire
what do you-
time.
Oh yeah. Well, the misogyny in this movie is like literally. At one point, Dom says, "Be my trophy."
Not
Yeah.
just the misogyny, but like the
Yeah.
full on like race
yeah.
what is it, stereotypes, like everyone's getting busted,
yeah.
right? Like the Spanish gang is hanging out at a taqueria, and then the Asian gang is like hanging out with their family and like having like a well-established dinner in like the
suburbs.
hills of Los Angeles, right? And like
Yeah.
the father slaps the
Slaps him.
son out of like, like it's a very like, yeah, there was a lot of tropes in this that were not friendly looking back on it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, not friendly, but not nuanced. But I'll be honest, if this movie was made again, they'd probably do that same thing in some way because of the.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
there are
for sure.
separate, ecosystems in it. Like that is kind of the point. It's very diverse too, so it's like, yeah, and everyone's got their cliques. But yeah, there's better ways to do it for sure. Like you don't have to do it so on the nose all the time. Real quickly, hitting the favorite characters, because there's a lot in here, and I know we can get into this. I like always, I love Jesse just because he's the nerd guy with evidently he has ADD and he should have went to MIT, but then he didn't want to or didn't want to do school because he hated it. So I was like, yeah, dude, I'm a nerd and I'm weird and I like math and I also like computers. So you and me, dude. I'm just not into cars like you, kind of weirdo. But I liked him a lot. By the way, is Jesse in? Is he in the Matrix? He's in something else around this time too, and I could not place it, and I didn't look it up, and as I should have. But I feel like he's like in the Matrix in a similar. He's like a tech in the Matrix or something, or some movie like that where he plays this same character where he's like the mechanic.
I think you're thinking
cannot
of I think you're thinking of the Matrix, but I don't think it's the same
A
actor.
different person?
It's Mouse. Yeah, you're thinking of Mouse.
Oh,
from
Mouse. He's
Matrix.
not Mouse. Okay.
Speaking of the computers, did you guys notice how like in the first race scene, everyone is like trying to disguise their NOS, or like how they have like
Yeah.
a super mechanic to their thing, and then like Paul Walker like looks at his NOS, a screen pops up, and then he just whips out like a whole fucking laptop to like
Yeah,
place
like
next
he's
to
a
him and
cop.
opens it with like the dumbest looking graph, and he's like, yeah, cool, sounds good. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's some other guy has like a computer in his entire system, and another one's just playing video games in it.
On the Panasonic, dude. Panasonic is written in a lot of places. He's playing PS1 in his car, like before a race, and he's playing a racing game because of course he is. So yeah, they tried to show off technical advancements, also did not age well.
Yeah.
So I like Jesse. I also like Brian because of how like just people look at him, say something, and then he just piercing blue eyes at them and doesn't react for a really long time. I was like, just love that. Really, really great. Dom's great too. Letty does her job. I thought everyone did a good job with their thing, and like we get introduced to him, so I'm like, yeah. I mean, I like these characters. I hated Vince as much as I should have, but my crush back in 01 when I was 13 years old was definitely Jordana Mia. Everyone loved Letty. All my friends, I liked Jordana. I liked Mia a lot, a whole bunch. So she was my.
Which one was Jordana again?
She's Mia. That's the sister.
Got it. Okay, gotcha.
Did you guys pick up on the very interesting conversation at the diner where she pretty much admitted that like when she turned 15, Vince was like interested in her?
Whoa, 16, buddy. Whoa, come
16,
on. 16. Big diff.
And he just kind of like smiled and he was like, "Oh, that's cool."
It's funny, my brain remembers that as 18. But when they said 16, I was like,
yeah. I was like, yeah, that is oof.
A goo, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Don't know about that one, Chief.
It was a different time, man. I feel like you could make jokes about that, and people were like, "Oh yeah, 16-year-olds," and it was like, now it's like, oh gosh, what is wrong with us? What's happening?
Jokes have changed.
Yeah.
Speaking of current events, just look at what P. Diddy is going through right now, and you'll know.
Okay. We're not ready for that. That's a lot. Google that if you want to learn about it. But yeah, we'll put that aside. I'm sure we'll touch on that for the next 40 years. Lots to unpack on that and that side of things.
Favorite characters.
Back to the characters. Who'd you guys have?
I think I had
no.
The confidence. Ja Rule.
What was his name? Albert.
Ja.
Edward.
What was his name?
I don't remember.
Edwin. It was Edwin. Edwin was his name. Yeah.
Yeah. My God.
He
Hector Edwin.
Oh my gosh.
No, definitely not Ja Rule. I mean, I think everyone's favorite character in this is probably going to be Brian.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just think it's the best character. I actually liked God, who's the main Asian guy? The
Johnny Tran.
Yeah,
Johnny Tran.
I liked him a lot.
Oh yeah, he had the vibe. He had the vibe.
He's a
did.
really good
He's
actor.
villainous.
I don't know if you've seen what he looks like now, but he has not aged one fucking
Of course
bit.
he hasn't.
Like
That's
he,
a good-looking man.
gosh.
yeah, that is a good looking man. But he did a really, really good job playing his character. So I would say he's definitely one of my favorites.
That was pretty good too.
Yeah, I like that. I was gonna say Johnny Tran as well. I thought he was great. Liked whenever he was on screen, and he was believable too. Like he was believable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. And then my meme favorite character is Hector, simply because that actor is Hector in every movie he plays, and he's the same character. Literally, he's literally Hector in every movie he's in, and it's great. So whenever I see him, I'm like, it's Hector. He is
also say-
the multiverse. He's in every
He
universe.
is the multiple. He is in every universe, and he's just such a nice guy in this. Like I'm like, why are you
He
throwing
is.
him under the bus? he's genuinely so nice, and he's like, hey man, welcome. Cool
Yeah.
car. You want to tell me about it? I'm like, Hector's awesome. I love this, and they just rag on him all the time. Which I guess he's just that guy in the group. Yeah, I like Hector a lot too. And now that we know who was the one speaking, let's see what they said as our favorites, because oh my God. There are so many quotes. I won't take a bunch. I'm going to take just a couple real quick. This is so good. The beginning when Dom, they're going to they arrive, Dom and the crew arrive at the first race, and the girls, by the way, these girls, 2000s to the just the Christina Aguilera starter pack, just same hair, same makeup, same everything, just doing it, hanging out. He's like, "What's up, or I don't know if her name was Monica. I think Monica was the one talking to Ja Rule, but it was one of those names like Ashley, Brittany, and he's like talking to the two girls.
Yeah,
Letty
Monica.
walks up and says, "Monica." Letty walks up and goes, "Why don't you guys pack it up before I leave tread marks on your face?" And then one of the girls goes, "Okay," and they just walk.
Yeah. Okay.
And Dom's like, "I was just talking," as he's like got his hands on both their hips. Like, I'm like, okay. But like the quote, she's mad, it's established, and then the girls just go, okay. I like that.
Solid.
The other one where guy's like, oh, what's going on? The guy's like, streets closed, pizza boy. I liked that. That was good. Whatever that guy's name is, I don't even know his name. He's in the crew, and I can't even remember his name.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I really felt it when Edwin, aka Ja Rule, goes, "No, Monica." That hit, you know.
Yeah,
that hit me right in the
that
feels.
hit.
So
yeah, we all have that moment. Yeah,
those were mine. I'll stick with those, even though I have 15 right now.
Jeez. All right, I'll throw my hat in there. Mine was also, you took two of mine. The no Monica. Seriously? I mean, chef's kiss, right? Absolute chef's kiss. One of the best quotes in the whole movie. I immediately can't remember what the other one was. It was like your first one. It was also one of mine. And
tread
yeah. Skanks. Love that one. And I think probably the most iconic one, sorry if I took this from you, PM, but it is Hector's going to be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines. No idea what that means. No.
But their reaction, they're like, what?
Yeah, everything he says, Dom and Vince are like, oh shit. Like,
he's not.
Is he running spaceships? Like, I don't know what at what point. I mean, I feel like we're talking about such minimal improvements over what you guys have. What does it matter? Like, I don't know what the difference is there, but I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, the spoon engines one was definitely my favorite.
What was the one that you said earlier that that I said was the one of my favorite quotes? What am I blanking on it right now?
I said earlier. Oh,
you mentioned it earlier
the family thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
we talked about family. Yes,
the cop kind of mentions, basically talks about how everything is about family. I think is kind of a sneaky good one, because that's like the precursor to everything that people make fun of this one. I one of my favorite ones was when he drops off the completely busted up car. And Dom is like, what are you doing? And Brian, with a dumb smile on his face, goes, I owe you a 10-second car. And we're just like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, this guy's just really stupid.
He looks so dumb.
I like, if you didn't tell me he was a cop, I'd be like, this guy's a fucking cop. Like, the way he acts, like, I just know he's a cop. Like, those moments were some of my favorite.
Yes.
The one where Dom pretty much talks about him living his life a quarter mile at a time. And like nothing else matters, not the mortgage or anything like that. Like, I think that sets up really well for the future of the show too. Or sorry, the movie. So I think that's a really good one. He has a moment where he, like, I can't remember the quote exactly, but it was also kind of funny, but like where Brian was like, I almost had you, and he was like, he went on this rant about how like he never had him, like basically if you
How did I
ask any
forget
real
that
racer,
one?
it's not about like if you win by a ton or a little bit, like winning is winning. Yeah. And
An
like
inch or a
like there's
mile.
like a crowd of like 40 people watching like this prophet, like he's like Dom is like this like Greek mythology prophet, basically explaining about how winning is winning kind of thing.
Yes.
I think, yeah, I think those are some good ones. And then obviously the tuna on white one, I think is a great one.
Yeah.
Because that's like you said, that's the one that people kind of make fun of now.
May I insert
Yeah,
2
that.
honorable mentions I thought of? So
Yeah.
while he was saying that immediately, first of all, it is that I don't know how I missed that one, but I say it all the time and no one knows what I'm talking about. And it's always, you never had me. You never had your car. I don't know why I love that one so much. I'm just talking shit. And then Edwin saying the stupidest line for Ja Rule, it's not how you stand by a car. It's how you race your car. It's like,
No shit.
obviously, man, it's a racing movie. What are you talking about? It's the stupidest quote ever.
Yeah, good luck with Firefest, Ja.
There was another one that
So
I forgot
dumb.
about where Brian is like sitting with the agents, and he was like basically talking about how he like needs more time, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, I need more time, and like one of the white agents,
Yeah.
I forget his name, was like, if you want time, buy the magazine. And I was like,
Yes.
damn.
Oh,
That is so cold-blooded.
good.
Oh, and he also makes that comment about Mia, and then he just pushes him down. Like, dude, he pushes this guy and he just goes down. And then just it
Brian's
cuts.
very
I'm like,
strong.
what? You're brawling at that point, dude. And also, Brian just he's so skinny and he just is constantly fighting everybody. And he's
Yeah.
just fighting people who don't know how to fight. Like, Vince has no idea how to fight. He tries to tackle him at the beginning. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? You're
Yeah.
way bigger. Just swing. Like, stop letting him punch you. Anyway, the one honorable mention too, before we really quickly move on. If I win, I take the cash and I take the respect. And I went, oh my God. And then everyone else in the movie was like, okay. Like, that was good. I'm glad it was dumb, even in the context of the movie. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But the whole, like, if you win an inch by a mile, or doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. It's got real, like, if you're not first, you're last vibes.
Yes, you're
if
right.
you're not first, you're last.
Yes, which I think where they got it
third,
from.
Fourth. Hell, you could even take fifth.
Hell.
Which exactly, yeah, I think that is where they got it from. That is a good point. That movie did come out after this one. So,
I just found the quote that you're talking about with Hector. Hector is going to be running 3 Honda Civics with spoon engines, and on top of that, he came into Harry's and ordered 3 T66 turbos with NOS and a Motec system exhaust. like I'm supposed to understand all of that shit.
Also, it's Harry's. Which Dom like runs evidently. Like he's trying to do it secretly. Why are you doing it at the place that the other guy buys all his stuff at? Now they know. Like, this is very secret.
Oh, I just read another one that's really good when they pull up to the Ferrari driver and Brian's
my
like, what's
God.
the retail of one of those? And the Ferrari guy's like, more than you can afford, pal. And Dom just goes, smoke him. And then they just
smoke him in our Honda. Like, dude, stock Ferrari is destroying anything you can make. It's just the way it is. It's just the way that's
you could afford.
So
I like
also,
how he said Ferrari.
His girlfriend.
Ferrari.
Yeah, Ferrari. And he's with his girlfriend. He goes on the shoulder to pass a truck and continue the race. Like, this is not a casual race. This guy, that woman's like, ah! Like, there's no way. There's no way it's happening. As soon as they get to another car, that guy's shutting it down.
Yeah, exactly.
But they took it way too seriously. I really quickly, I threw another category in here because I think this is hilarious because there is 10 movies and you don't need to just say this movie. You can say any of them. I don't know if you guys came up with any, but an actor that you think, like, if you think back, you're like, that guy had to have been in one of the Fast and Furious, but isn't. Because I had 2 at the top of my head and they're you're going to be like, yep. And that's why I was thinking of. So I don't know what if you guys came up with anything or if you need a second, but like the 2 guys that I'm like, now at this point, I think they should be in a Fast and the Furious movie. And I had to actually look to make sure they weren't because there has been so many. I got to be honest, I haven't seen them all out of principle. Which now I can do this. Now I can do it. I don't think I've seen the last 3 of them, so I should
Yeah.
catch up on them. But one, Aaron Paul. How is he not in?
Aaron
I'm
Paul.
sure. Here's
Yeah,
it's
he's in
Jesse
Breaking
from
Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Oh, wow.
100%.
Yeah.
He could have been an extra after Breaking Bad 2. I'm surprised they didn't try to get him into to be a honorary member of the crew because they kept adding people. And then in the spirit of like musicians or rappers being in Pitbull. How is Pitbull not in a
Interesting.
Fast and Furious
Pitbull.
movie?
That is
Pitbull.
interesting.
Pitbull.
How is there no
Okay.
like even because they go to Miami, like I believe they've gone to Miami a couple times in two different movies. Like, how does he not show up in those? Like, how is he not? I don't know. It just seems like he's got the vibe. The music is also something you would play in a car that street races. I don't know.
Yeah.
How'd you miss it? And then that's like prime, like late aughts prime Pitbull.
True. Yeah, that's his time.
So interesting he didn't get in there. But you guys have any? Because I thought those two would be great in these movies and haven't been in them.
I thought
Keanu Reeves.
Statham.
Keanu could have easily
he's in
been
it.
in.
Yeah,
Keanu.
Like,
I
he
don't
could
know.
have been,
Keanu, really?
a
A
brother,
little too serious.
like a brother to somebody.
Okay.
Or
Brother
like,
to
All right.
somebody, or like I'm even trying to think of like there's like guys who could have like made were big back then, right? Like even in that time,
Mhm.
like I'm surprised like Will Smith didn't get a cameo or something, or like a big guy like that, like a movie star around that time. Like these movies were huge, especially like
Yeah,
in the
good point.
middle with like 2, 3, 4, 5. Like Will Smith does in Bad Boys. Like there's these guys have done movies that are similar and that would
Yeah,
make
true.
sense. It's kind of why they got The Rock, I feel like, and Jason Statham and action stars. So as soon as it started to be like, we're not just street racers, we're international criminals, like then they could have started bringing everybody in. But I was like, how did we not get? I just was like, Pitbull makes so much sense. They did Luda. We got Tyrese and Luda. We could definitely
Luda?
get Pitbull in here. 100%.
Oh,
100 P. Hundo P.
100 P.
And then in that same vibe, who peaked? Who peaked in these movies? Who peaked in this
Letty.
movie? No, it doesn't have to be this movie.
Letty.
All of these
Yeah.
movies.
Letty.
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 Letty
It's
peaked.
pretty much all
Yeah.
she's been in, except she was great in D&D. Just got to let you know.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know
I
if you
think
guys have
from
seen it.
like,
Oh, I never saw
yeah,
that.
she wasn't in, yeah, and she was great, but
But she's also
I
kind
think
of the
from
same
like
character.
a physical standpoint, I think she was like a heartthrob
Yeah.
in that movie, and I think it just doesn't work in any other scenario. Like she
Yeah.
almost needs to be like the hyper aggressive, type of character for it to come off as attractive in that movie, and I
Mhm.
just don't think that translated well for the future of stuff. So I would say her, for sure, because everyone
Yeah.
else, I feel like, I mean, outside of like Vince and the other guy who calls out the pizza, or sorry, who tells the pizza guy to scram, like,
Yes.
yeah,
Well, Vince is in Blade. I think Blade 2, actually.
Is he?
And yes.
oh,
Oh, yes, he
he's-
is. You're right.
yeah,
Okay.
he's also like a daywalker. Maybe he's in. I think it's 2 because Ryan Reynolds is him in the third one, which don't watch that movie if you can avoid it. He's in another thing, but like the other guy, again, I don't even know his name in this movie. So like, if that tells you anything. And then Paul Walker definitely peaked in these movies. He wasn't in any other movies.
Yeah, no.
So like, I would say,
yeah.
I would say he's known for these. But then again, so is Jordana. Like honestly, they all are, because none of them really took any other jobs because
I
they did
mean-
these movies for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. If that's all you're looking for is that paycheck, that consistent money, I mean, I can't blame him. That's
Yeah.
It's the same character. You just act the exact same way. You don't have to really change anything. But yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
It's like
I'd
it's
say
like the
that-
MCU
I mean,
effect. It's like a mini MCU.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that Vin Diesel peaked here, at least in terms of his popularity, because he has Triple X, and then he has
Chronicles of Riddick.
Like he's in other movies that made a lot of money, even if he's in Pitch Dark, right? Which is
Mhm.
the prequel to Riddick. So like he was a little bit of a movie star for a minute, like action star.
For sure.
Not long, but yeah, he has some work outside of these movies, but no one really else
No,
does that much.
no.
So his captain, the cop, he's a captain cop and other things. I know that for sure. I can't
Yes.
remember what, but he is definitely only that character in everything he's in.
Yeah.
But
What do they call
you
that?
know,
Typecast. He's typecast, I guess.
he's typecast. He's pigeonholed into his role,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
again, a lot of people don't get any roles, so
True.
if all you get is typecast, then I guess that's better than nothing, right?
Exactly.
I think they would agree with that. All right. Well, now we watched it, and then we watched it again years later. What do we got for our final ratings? PM, lead us off.
This was terrible. Like this was really, really bad. I would probably give it a 3 out of 10. I think the nostalgia factor is boosting all those threes, but the acting was horrible. The special effects were terrible. The plot had a lot of holes in it. And it was really just to appease a certain niche culture at the time that ended up being bigger than everyone I think initially realized. Um, I would say around 3 out of 10. That's why I kind of last minute asked about doing the second one, because I think the second one is a better movie of the first one.
Yeah.
Overall, I think they did I think they saw how successful the first one was, and then said, okay, what if we actually like got real actors this time? And then they were like, that sounds good. And then that's why I like the second one a lot. But no, 3 out of 10, I would say.
3 out of 10. Paul, 3 out of
Well,
10.
I want to keep this in perspective. So when I was younger,
Okay, keep it in perspective.
the movie, I think for me was probably like an 8 out of 10. I loved it. It was great. I think I remember liking the second one more, and that's what got me into like the video games, like Need for Speed and all that kind of stuff. And they actually had their own Fast and the Furious game as well. But I just, after having watched it now as an adult with my wife, who has never seen it before, so that was a great experience watching it with Tirza. And just really quick, some things that popped up in the movie. Brian kills Johnny Tran, just kills him. He committed a murder in broad daylight and then just walked away. And it was like, call 911. And I'd be like, bitch, if you're, I'm calling it on you. Like, look, like white man with no identification just killed this guy and ran away and then told me to call 911. Like, I'm already on the phone. Like, are you kidding me? You just murdered a guy. So that happens again. Who goes to dinner at 10 p.m.? That's a huge plot hole. And
he can't handle it. And he has a kid now. Can't wrap his head.
I don't understand it. And then they get the whole clan, the whole Johnny Tran clan. They bust him, and they're like, yeah, the best we got is like some aggravated assault charges and like some like minor weapons or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to believe that they go from that to drive-by killing someone? Like they just killed Jesse? The leap was wild. Anyway, that being said, upon rewatch, 7.9 out of 10. I had a great time. I had a great time watching this.
Different lens.
It was fantastic. And there's actually some moments of decent suspense that weren't bad. But as campy as it was, I had a good time. Yeah, 7.9 out of 10.
Yeah. It's fun to watch how we're doing these ratings and how they're kind of changing over time, like what we're looking for out of the movie.
Yeah.
Like I would say, even when I was a kid, again, like it was probably a 7.5 before, because I was like, yeah, it's a fun movie. I'm like, this is cool. It's an action movie. Cars are cool. I like the idea of cars. I never got into them, but I had friends that were also, it was a little bit of me posing to try to fit in. But I gave it a 7. I would say it's very clearly not a great movie, but also they're trying to, it was one of those things like, is this going to land or not? And then it did in a lot of ways. And I think that the thing we mentioned earlier about kind of it was more endearing than people were imagining. Like the characters' chemistry was better than they anticipated. And
agreed.
It's pretty well known that like Vin Diesel and Paul Walker were really, really good friends. Like they became very good friends, and that a lot of that chemistry is real. And that they loved Paul. Everyone did, and he kind of brought them all together. So like they literally became a family. I hate that I say that, but it's true. And so, but that they set that up really well. And that that might have been just a Hail Mary and they didn't know if it would work, and it did. But it did. And so there was elements, but again, overall campy and kitschy. I basically have pretty bad, but fun. I had fun, and I thought the misogyny was going to be way like every minute of every. It was just like some really very narrow, specific, like on the nose, brutal moments. But overall, like it's not like they're like women can't race, and like they didn't go that route, which I'm glad, because Letty dominates the race, and they don't have to mention or whatever because it's just accepted. So yes, there's a lot of problems, obviously, and a lot of like jokes being made, but overall, it wasn't like they didn't try to create a hierarchical thing in the storyline, which I appreciated as well. So generally okay, I enjoyed it. 6.5. We'll give it like a little half thumbs up. But man, there were some holes that were like that whole red light thing. I was like, dude, you guys filmed this on purpose, and I guess this might have been, if only you had Emperor's New Groove money, maybe we could have avoided this.
Oh my gosh, that's sweet Emperor's New Groove money. My goodness.
But I think in the future we should just like revisit and go to the second one and like do a compare and contrast episode. I think that's a great idea. PM, you make a great point, because Too Fast and Furious, I think, is what really locked people into the series. I think that's when they were like, we're gonna make 50 of these, because that one went off really well. And then Tokyo Drift was like so different that everyone's like, I kind of like this. And they introduced a new character who then becomes one of the main guys. And so it's just they did it well. But the fact that the Jetta is driven by Frankie Muniz really just tells you where it was culturally too. I just Malcolm in the Middle and Fast and Furious. That is 2001 in a nutshell right there for you.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the Fast and the Furious. We watched it. We had thoughts, and you probably had thoughts as well. I guess we'll just call it there, because we are getting long again, because we can't help it. This has been the May Contain Action podcast. We thank you, as always, for listening. You can listen anywhere that podcasts are. We're literally anywhere. Spotify, YouTube for the video version. You can listen to the audio version too, because YouTube has podcasts as well. Audacity, iHeartRadio, Samsung, everywhere. So go listen wherever you can leave a comment or wherever you can rate. Please give us 5 stars, because it makes us feel like you like us. Thank you so much. Very important to us. And we will see you next week on the May Contain Action podcast. Goodbye.